First contact. The arrival. The skies over New York City darkened as massive ships blocked out the sun. It was happening all over the world. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization was unfolding in real time. Dr. Samantha Chen, lead astrophysicist at NASA, stared at her computer screen in disbelief. The aliens had somehow managed to bypass all of Earth's early warning systems. One moment, deep space was empty. The next, thousands of ships appeared in low Earth orbit. "This can't be happening," she muttered, furiously typing commands to verify the data. But there was no mistake. The impossible had become reality. In the White House Situation Room, President Elena Rodriguez sat at the head of the table, her face a mask of forced calm. "General Thompson, what are our options?" The grizzled military veteran cleared his throat. "Madam President, we're looking at a force that outnumbers and outguns us by orders of magnitude. Conventional warfare is not advisable." Before the president could respond, every screen in the room flickered to life. A tall, slender figure appeared, humanoid, but with iridescent scales covering its body and large pupil-less eyes. When it spoke, its voice was a discordant mix of hisses and clicks, somehow translated into English. "People of Earth, I am High Commander Zixthar of the Galactic Hegemony. Your planet is now under our control. Resistance is futile, and will be met with swift punishment. Comply, and you may yet find a place in our empire." The transmission cut off, leaving the room in stunned silence. President Rodriguez stood, her eyes blazing with determination. "General, I want every military asset we have ready to deploy, and get me in touch with our allies. If they think humanity will roll over and surrender, they're in for a rude awakening." As chaos erupted in cities worldwide, a different scene was unfolding in a small town in Montana. Jack Harper, a retired Special Forces operator turned mechanic, watched the alien ships on his old TV set. His hand tightened around his coffee mug, knuckles turning white. "Sarah," he called out to his teenage daughter, "pack your bags. We're heading to the cabin." Sarah appeared in the doorway, her face pale. "Dad, what's going on? Are those things real?" Jack nodded grimly. "I'm afraid so, sweetheart. But don't worry. We've prepared for this." As they loaded up their truck with supplies, Jack's mind raced. Years of military training kicked in, assessing threats and formulating strategies. He knew that conventional warfare wouldn't work against an enemy this advanced, but humans had always been good at adapting, at finding unconventional solutions to impossible problems. Meanwhile, in a secret underground facility in the Rockies, Dr. Chen found herself whisked away by government agents. She was led into a room filled with the brightest minds in various scientific fields. A stern-looking woman in a suit addressed the gathered scientists. "Ladies and gentlemen, you are here because you represent humanity's best chance at understanding and potentially defeating this alien threat. Dr. Chen, your expertise in astrophysics will be crucial. We need to know everything about their technology, their ships, their weapons." Samantha nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. "Their method of arrival suggests some form of faster-than-light travel, possibly involving the manipulation of space-time itself. If we can understand that, we might be able to disrupt it." As the scientists began their work, the first signs of alien occupation became evident. Massive structures began to appear in major cities, towering spires that seemed to defy gravity. People who approached them reported feeling a strange compulsion to obey, to submit. In New York, a group of civilians led by NYPD officer Mike Ramirez decided to investigate one of these structures. As they approached, Mike felt a pressure building in his head, a voice urging him to kneel, to accept the new order. But Mike gritted his teeth and pushed forward. "Stay strong, people," he shouted to his group. "Whatever they're doing, it's some kind of mind control. Fight it." Some members of the group faltered, falling to their knees with glazed eyes. But others, inspired by Mike's resistance, pressed on. As they got closer to the structure, they noticed something odd, small drone-like devices hovering around the spire, emitting a faint hum. Mike's police training kicked in. "Those drones," he muttered. "They must be broadcasting the signal. If we can take them out." Back in Montana, Jack and Sarah arrived at their remote cabin. As Jack began to set up their defenses, Sarah tuned into a shortwave radio. "Dad," she called out, "I'm picking up scattered reports. The aliens, they're not just invading. They're changing people somehow, making them obedient." Jack frowned. "Mind control tech, most likely. But there's always a weakness, always a way to fight back. We just need to find it." As night fell, the world held its breath. Humanity stood on the brink, facing its greatest challenge. But in labs and cabins, in city streets and government bunkers, the seeds of resistance were already being sown. The aliens thought they had found an easy conquest. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Resistance rising. Humanity fights back. 2 weeks had passed since the arrival of the alien fleet, and Earth was a changed world. Major cities had become fortresses of alien control, dominated by the towering spires that broadcast their insidious mind control signals. But humanity, true to its nature, refused to go quietly into the night. In the depths of the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Samantha Chen worked tirelessly alongside her fellow scientists. Sleep-deprived and running on a mixture of caffeine and determination, she finally had a breakthrough. "The signal," she exclaimed, startling her colleagues. "It's not just affecting our minds. It's altering our brain chemistry, specifically the areas responsible for decision-making and free will." Dr. Marcus Reeves, a neurobiologist, leaned in to examine her findings. "Fascinating. But how does this help us?" Samantha's eyes gleamed with excitement. "If we can develop a counteragent, something to block these specific neurochemical changes, we might be able to immunize people against the alien control." As the scientists redoubled their efforts, resistance movements were springing up across the globe. In New York, Officer Mike Ramirez had transformed his small group of investigators into a full-fledged guerrilla unit. They had discovered that localized EMP bursts could temporarily disable the alien drones, creating free zones where people could think clearly. Mike stood atop a partially demolished skyscraper, surveying the alien-controlled sectors of the city. "We're making progress," he told his second-in-command, a former Wall Street trader named Aisha. "But it's not enough. We need to take out those spires." Aisha nodded grimly. "Agreed. But how? They're heavily guarded, and even getting close is a struggle against the mind control." Before Mike could respond, a crackling voice came over their radio. "This is Jack Harper, broadcasting on all emergency frequencies. If anyone can hear this, we found a way to resist the alien mind control. I repeat, we have a defense against their influence." Miles away, in his Montana cabin, Jack Harper continued his broadcast. Sarah sat beside him, monitoring the radio for responses. The past 2 weeks had been a crash course in survival and resistance for the teenager, and she had risen to the challenge admirably. "It's not perfect," Jack explained to any listeners, "but we found that certain frequencies, when played constantly, can disrupt the alien signal. We're calling it cognitive static. It's not comfortable, but it keeps you free." Responses began to trickle in from across the country. Small pockets of resistance, isolated communities, even individuals hiding in basements and attics. Hope, that most human of emotions, began to spread. In Washington, D.C., or what was left of it, President Rodriguez operated from a mobile command center, constantly on the move to avoid alien detection. When word of Jack's discovery reached her, she immediately saw its potential. "Get this information to every resistance cell we're in contact with," she ordered. "And I want our best people working on amplifying this effect. If we can broadcast our own signal." Her thought was interrupted by a thunderous explosion. Outside, the sky lit up as an alien ship crashed to the ground, trailing fire and debris. General Thompson burst into the command center. "Madam President, you need to see this." On the main screen, footage played of a dogfight between alien craft and human jets. But these weren't ordinary aircraft. They moved with impossible agility, matching the aliens' maneuver for maneuver. "Where did these come from?" Rodriguez demanded. A grin spread across Thompson's weathered face. "Remember that black-budget project I told you about? Seems like Area 51 wasn't just for show after all." As battles raged in the skies above multiple continents, the alien occupiers faced their first real setback. High Commander Zixthar watched the reports flood in with growing concern. "Impossible," he hissed to his subordinates. "Their technology is primitive. They should be fully under our control by now." His second-in-command, Vexna, stepped forward cautiously. "High Commander, perhaps we underestimated these humans. Their adaptability is unprecedented." Zixthar's eyes narrowed. "Increase the power to the control spires. I want every human on this planet kneeling in submission within the week." But even as the alien leader gave his command, the tide was turning. In New York, Mike Ramirez and his team, equipped with Jack's cognitive static devices, launched a daring raid on one of the smaller control spires. Using a combination of EMP weapons and good old-fashioned explosives, they managed to topple the structure. As it fell, a wave of clarity swept through the surrounding neighborhoods. People who had been walking around in a compliant daze suddenly stopped, shaking their heads as if waking from a long sleep. Mike watched in awe as spontaneous celebrations erupted in the streets. "We did it," he breathed. "We actually did it." Aisha clapped him on the shoulder. "One down, about 1,000 to go. But it's a start." In the Rockies, Dr. Chen and her team had made significant progress on their neurochemical blocker. Early tests on volunteers showed promising results, with subjects able to resist the alien influence for increasing periods of time. "We're close," Samantha told the government liaison. "A few more days, and we might have a vaccine against their mind control." The liaison nodded approvingly. "Excellent work, Doctor. But we need to talk about distribution. Even if we perfect this, how do we get it to billions of people under alien occupation?" It was a daunting question, but one that sparked an idea in Samantha's mind. What if we didn't have to? What if we could aerosolize the blocker and release it into the atmosphere? The implications were staggering. A global immunization against alien control, delivered through the very air people breathed. As scientists, soldiers, and civilians alike fought back against their would-be conquerors, a sense of unity began to spread across the planet. Old rivalries and conflicts were set aside in the face of a common enemy. Humanity, in all its diverse glory, was coming together as never before. In his Montana cabin, Jack Harper received an encrypted message from President Rodriguez herself, thanking him for his contribution and requesting his assistance in coordinating global resistance efforts. Jack looked at Sarah, seeing the pride and determination in his daughter's eyes. "What do you say, kiddo? Ready to help save the world?" Sarah grinned, the expression of a generation that refused to be conquered. "Let's show these aliens what humans are really made of." As night fell on a planet in turmoil, the message was clear. Earth would not fall. Humanity would not be enslaved. The real battle was just beginning, and against all odds, humans were starting to win. The turning point, discovering alien weaknesses. The war for Earth had entered its second month, and the planet had become a patchwork of resistance and occupation. Major cities remained under alien control, their skylines dominated by the ominous mind control spires. But between these strongholds, humanity fought back with increasing effectiveness. In the skies above Chicago, Captain Leila Kermani piloted her advanced fighter jet, a product of humanity's secret space program. She barrel-rolled to avoid a blast from an alien craft, then returned fire. Her weapons, reverse-engineered from downed alien tech, tore through the enemy ship's shields. "Tango down," she reported calmly. All units, form up on me. We're punching a hole for the ground team. On the streets below, a convoy of modified trucks raced toward the city center. Leading the charge was Mike Ramirez, now a seasoned veteran of urban warfare against the aliens. Beside him sat Dr. Samantha Chen, clutching a briefcase containing humanity's latest weapon. "You sure this will work, Doc?" Mike asked, swerving to avoid debris. Samantha nodded, her face a mixture of determination and apprehension. "In theory, yes. If we can disperse this aerosol near the base of the spire, it should immunize everyone in a 5-mile radius against the mind control." As they neared their target, the true scale of the alien defenses became apparent. Swarms of drones filled the air, while robotic sentries patrolled the streets. And everywhere, humans moved in an eerie, synchronized manner, their minds no longer their own. "This is as far as we go by vehicle," Mike announced. "Everyone out. Cognitives on. Weapons hot." The resistance fighters donned their protective headgear, which emitted Jack Harper's cognitive static to shield them from alien influence. They moved swiftly through the streets, engaging alien forces with a combination of conventional weapons and reverse-engineered tech. As they fought their way closer to the spire, Samantha noticed something odd. "Mike," she called out, "look at the aliens' reaction times. They're slowing down." Mike ducked behind an overturned car, observing the enemy movements. "You're right. They seem sluggish. But why?" Before Samantha could theorize, their comms crackled to life. It was Jack Harper broadcasting from the mobile command center. "All units, be advised. We're picking up some kind of solar anomaly. Massive coronal ejection heading our way." Mike disrupted communications. As if on cue, the sky lit up with an eerie aurora. The alien craft above them suddenly lurched, their sleek movements becoming erratic. On the ground, the robotic sentries froze in place. "It's the solar flare," Samantha exclaimed. "It must be interfering with their tech somehow. This is our chance." Mike didn't need to be told twice. "All units, push forward. Take out those drones and sentries while they're vulnerable." The resistance surged forward, taking advantage of the aliens' moment of weakness. They reached the base of the spire in record time, and Samantha quickly set up her dispersal device. "Everyone, masks on," she ordered, then activated the aerosol release. A fine mist spread out from the device, quickly enveloping the area. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then gradually, the blank-faced civilians in the vicinity began to blink, to shake their heads, to look around in confusion. "It's working," Samantha breathed. "They're waking up." As the newly freed humans realized what was happening, many of them joined the resistance on the spot, picking up fallen weapons and turning on their former controllers. High above Earth, aboard the alien flagship, High Commander Zixthar was in a state of panic. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Why are our systems malfunctioning?" His science officer, Krelvix, worked frantically at a console. "High Commander, it appears the humans have discovered our weakness. Our technology, our very biology, is highly sensitive to the type of radiation produced by their sun during these solar events." Zixthar's eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible. We surveyed thousands of worlds. None have ever used their star as a weapon against us." Meanwhile, in the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Marcus Reeves made a startling discovery. Analyzing tissue samples from a fallen alien, he found that their cellular structure was fundamentally different from Earth life. Their entire biology is based on a form of liquid crystal, he explained to the assembled scientists and military personnel. It makes them incredibly adaptable, but also vulnerable to certain types of radiation, exactly the kind produced by solar flares. President Rodriguez, attending via secure video link, leaned forward. "Can we weaponize this knowledge?" Dr. Reeves nodded slowly. "Theoretically, yes. If we could generate a focused beam of this specific radiation, we could disable their tech, maybe even incapacitate the aliens themselves," General Thompson finished. As plans were set in motion to develop this new weapon, The tide of battle continued to turn. In cities across the globe, resistance forces took advantage of the solar flare's effects to strike decisive blows against the alien occupation. In New York, Asia led a team to capture an alien command post, securing vital intelligence on the invaders' strategies and capabilities. In Tokyo, a group of hackers managed to breach alien communications, providing invaluable real-time intel to resistance forces worldwide. And in the skies, Captain Kermani and her squadron pressed their advantage, downing dozens of disoriented alien ships and clearing the air over major cities. As the solar flare's effects began to wane, humanity had gained significant ground. Multiple control spires had fallen, and for the first time since the invasion began, large swaths of Earth were free from alien influence. Back in Montana, Jack Harper received reports from around the world, a smile growing on his weathered face. "Sarah," he called to his daughter, "I think it's time we took this show on the road. The resistance needs us on the front lines." Sarah, who had become an expert in coordinating global communications for the resistance, nodded eagerly. "Where to first, Dad?" Jack pondered for a moment. "Washington, D.C., it's time we helped the president take back our capital." As they packed up their gear, a transmission came through from Dr. Chen. "Mr. Harper," Samantha's voice crackled over the radio. "We did it. Chicago is free. And we've learned so much about their weaknesses. I think we might actually win this." Jack's expression turned serious. "We've won some battles, Doc, but the war's far from over. The aliens won't take this lying down. We need to be ready for their counterattack." As if in response to his words, the sky lit up once more, but this wasn't another solar flare. Massive ships, larger than any seen before, were descending through the atmosphere. The alien reinforcements had arrived. Humanity had bloodied the invaders' nose, but now the real test was coming. The next phase of the war would determine the fate of Earth and perhaps the galaxy itself. Counterattack. Operation Earthrise. The arrival of the alien reinforcements cast a shadow over humanity's recent victories. Massive ships, each easily dwarfing the largest human metropolis, took up positions in low Earth orbit. The message was clear. The galactic hegemony was not about to let their prize slip away. In a fortified bunker beneath the ruins of Washington, D.C., President Elena Rodriguez stood before a gathering of military leaders, scientists, and resistance heroes. The faces on the screens around her represented every nation on Earth. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment, "we stand at a crossroads. The enemy has shown its hand, escalating this conflict to new heights. But in doing so, they've also revealed their desperation. They fear us, and with good reason." She nodded to Dr. Samantha Chen, who stepped forward. "Thanks to our combined efforts, we've made several critical discoveries about our invaders. Their sensitivity to solar radiation, the limitations of their mind control technology, and most recently, the nature of their faster-than-light travel." Samantha brought up a holographic display of the solar system. "We believe the aliens use a form of space-folding technology to traverse vast distances. However, this method requires precise calculations and, crucially, a clear path. By saturating key areas of space with a specialized form of radiation, we can effectively cut off their reinforcements and supply lines." General Thompson took over. "We're calling it Operation Earthrise, a coordinated global effort to take the fight to the aliens and reclaim our world." The plan was audacious. While Earth's military forces engaged the alien fleet in orbit, strike teams would infiltrate key alien installations around the globe. Their objective: to plant devices that would generate the disruptive radiation field, creating a barrier around Earth. Meanwhile, a specialist team led by Jack Harper and Mike Ramirez would make a daring assault on the alien flagship itself. Their mission: to capture or eliminate High Commander Zixthar and disrupt the aliens' command structure. As the briefing concluded, President Rodriguez looked at each face in turn. "I won't lie to you. This will be the hardest fight of our lives. But I believe in humanity, in our resilience, our creativity, and our unwavering spirit. Together, we will take back our home. The next 48 hours were a flurry of activity as Operation Earthrise was put into motion. In secret bases around the world, pilots like Captain Layla Kermani prepped their advanced fighters. Scientists worked around the clock, fine-tuning the radiation devices, and in every city, town, and village, civilians prepared for the fight of their lives. As the appointed hour approached, Jack Harper and his daughter Sarah made final checks on their equipment. "You sure you're ready for this, kiddo?" Jack asked, concern evident in his voice. Sarah checked the power cell on her reverse-engineered alien blaster. "Born ready, Dad. Someone's got to watch your six up there." In New York, Mike Ramirez briefed his team. "Remember, folks, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone who couldn't be here, for those still under alien control, for the future of our entire species." Aisha, now his second in command, nodded grimly. "Let's show these alien bastards what happens when you mess with Earth." As the clock struck 0, humanity unleashed its counterattack. The skies lit up with the largest coordinated military action in Earth's history. Fighters screamed into the atmosphere, engaging alien craft in vicious dogfights. On the ground, resistance cells worldwide began their assaults on alien strongholds. In orbit, the alien fleet found itself under attack from an unexpected quarter. The secret space program, hidden for decades, revealed itself in full force. Advanced human warships, incorporating both terrestrial and reverse-engineered alien tech, emerged from concealed bases on the Moon and Mars. Aboard the alien flagship, High Commander Zixthar watched in disbelief as his carefully laid plans crumbled. "Impossible," he hissed. "How could they have advanced so quickly?" His second-in-command, Vexna, ducked as a nearby console exploded. "High Commander, we're detecting a strange radiation field forming around the planet. Our reinforcements, they can't get through." As battles raged across the globe and beyond, strike teams fought their way into alien installations. In the Sahara, a team led by Dr. Marcus Reeves planted a radiation device in the heart of a massive alien complex. In the Amazon, another team did the same, fighting through waves of alien defenders. High above the Earth, Jack and Sarah Harper, along with Mike Ramirez and a crack team of operatives, made their approach to the alien flagship. Using captured alien shuttles and the cover of the massive space battle, they managed to slip through the ship's defenses. "Remember," Jack said as they prepared to breach the hull, "we're here for Zixthar. Everything else is secondary." As they fought their way through the labyrinthine corridors of the alien vessel, Earth's forces pressed their advantage. The disruptive radiation field grew stronger with each activated device, slowly but surely cutting off the aliens' escape routes and supply lines. In Chicago, Dr. Samantha Chen coordinated the global effort from a makeshift command center. "Device 7 is online," she reported. "Radiation field at 60% coverage. We're almost there." But the aliens weren't going down without a fight. In a desperate move, they began to overload their mind control spires, hoping to reassert control over Earth's population. The effect was catastrophic, with millions crying out in pain as the intensified signals assaulted their minds. Aboard the flagship, Jack's team finally fought their way to the bridge. In a fierce firefight, they confronted High Commander Zixthar himself. The alien leader, towering and resplendent in ornate armor, faced them with disdain. "You primitives," Zixthar snarled. "Do you really think you can stand against the might of the galactic hegemony?" Mike stepped forward, his weapon trained on the alien's head. "We're not standing against it," he said with a grim smile. "We're tearing it down." At that moment, Sarah managed to hack into the ship's systems. With a few keystrokes, she broadcast a signal to every alien craft and installation on and around Earth. It was the same cognitive static that had first granted humanity protection against the alien influence, but amplified 1,000-fold. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across the globe, alien forces faltered. Their coordination collapsed, their technology glitched and failed. And in that moment of weakness, humanity struck. Fighter pilots seized the advantage in the skies. Ground forces overwhelmed alien strongholds. And in orbit, Earth's secret fleet pressed its attack, methodically dismantling the alien armada. On the flagship's bridge, Zixthar watched in horror as his empire crumbled. With a roar of defiance, he lunged at Jack, but the seasoned warrior was ready. In a brief but intense struggle, Jack managed to overpower the alien commander, using Zixthar's own weight against him. As Mike and Sarah secured the bridge, Jack stood over the fallen alien leader. "It's over," he said simply. "Earth is off limits." Around the world, cheers erupted as news of the victory spread. The alien fleet, cut off and in disarray, began to retreat. Those that couldn't flee surrendered, their will to fight broken by the loss of their leader and the unexpected ferocity of Earth's retaliation. As the dust settled and the adrenaline of battle faded, humanity faced a new reality. They had won, against all odds. But the victory came with questions. What would they do with their captured alien technology? How would they defend against future threats? And perhaps most importantly, what was humanity's place in a much larger, more complex galaxy? As the sun rose on a free Earth, one thing was certain: the human race had proven itself a force to be reckoned with. The stars, once a distant dream, now beckoned with new possibility and promise. A new era, humanity's triumph and galactic consequences. The dawn of a new age broke over Earth, a planet forever changed by its trial by fire. The alien invasion, once a nightmare of subjugation, had instead become the catalyst for humanity's greatest leap forward. As the dust settled and the adrenaline of victory faded, the real work began. In the halls of the United Nations, now expanded and renamed the Earth Alliance, President Elena Rodriguez addressed a gathering of world leaders and key figures from the resistance. "We stand here today, not just as victors," she began, her voice carrying the weight of recent history, "but as architects of our future. The threat we faced united us in ways we never thought possible. Now we must remain united as we rebuild and look to the stars." The challenges were immense. Cities lay in ruins, millions were displaced, and the scars of alien occupation, both physical and psychological, ran deep. But amid the rubble, hope flourished. The cooperation forged in resistance blossomed into a new era of global collaboration. Dr. Samantha Chen, now heading the newly formed Earth Science and Technology Advancement Coalition, ESTAC, took the podium. "The alien technology we've acquired opens doors we once thought impossible. Faster than light travel, clean energy solutions, medical advancements beyond our wildest dreams. All of these are now within our grasp. But with great power came great responsibility. The question of how to use this technology responsibly sparked intense debate. Some argued for rapid implementation to solve Earth's problems, while others cautioned against moving too quickly without understanding the full implications. Jack Harper, hailed as one of Earth's greatest heroes, surprised many with his stance. "We fought for our freedom, for our right to choose our own path," he said in a widely broadcast interview. "Now we need to be careful not to become what we defeated. This tech, this power, it needs to benefit all of humanity, not just a select few." His daughter, Sarah, nodded in agreement. "And we need to consider our place in the galaxy. We know we're not alone now. We need to be prepared for what's out there, both good and bad." Indeed, the capture of High Commander Zixthar and many of his officers had provided Earth with a wealth of information about the wider galaxy. The galactic hegemony, it turned out, was just one of several interstellar powers. Some were benevolent, others less so, but all would soon have to reckon with the emergence of humanity as a galactic player. Mike Ramirez, now serving as the head of Earth's new defense force, was tasked with preparing for future threats. "We caught them by surprise this time," he often said in planning sessions. We can't count on that happening again. We need to be ready for anything. As Earth's cities were rebuilt, they took on a futuristic sheen. Gleaming spires of advanced alloys rose where alien control towers once stood. Transportation grids incorporated alien anti-gravity tech, easing congestion and pollution. The scars of war slowly faded, replaced by monuments to human resilience and ingenuity. But not all the changes were technological. The shared experience of the invasion had profoundly altered human society. Old rivalries and conflicts seemed petty in the face of what they had endured together. A new sense of global citizenship emerged, transcending old national boundaries. Education systems worldwide were overhauled to include comprehensive courses on alien biology, technology, and culture. The stars, once distant points of light, became destinations to be explored. A new generation of children grew up dreaming not just of being astronauts, but of being ambassadors to alien worlds. 5 years after the invasion, Earth launched its first official diplomatic mission to the stars. The starship Phoenix, a marvel of human and alien engineering, carried representatives from every nation on Earth. Their mission: to establish peaceful contact with other civilizations and to put humanity firmly on the galactic map. As the Phoenix prepared for its maiden voyage, a ceremony was held at the newly constructed Unity Plaza in what was once war-torn New York City. President Rodriguez, nearing the end of her historic term, gave a rousing speech. Today, we take our place among the stars not as conquerors, but as explorers and peacekeepers. We carry with us the hard-won wisdom of our recent past and the hope for a brighter future. To any civilization watching, know this: Earth comes in peace, but we will fiercely defend our freedom and our values. The crowd erupted in cheers as the Phoenix lifted off, quickly becoming a bright star in the sky before disappearing into the depths of space. On screens around the world, billions watched, their hearts swelling with pride and anticipation. In a quiet moment after the ceremony, Jack Harper stood with his daughter Sarah, both gazing up at the sky. "You know," Jack said, a hint of wonder in his voice, "when I was your age, I never imagined anything like this." Sarah smiled, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "And now we're just getting started. Who knows what we'll achieve in another generation?" As night fell on a transformed Earth, the planet pulsed with new energy and purpose. The invasion, meant to subjugate humanity, had instead unleashed its greatest potential. United, resilient, and armed with advanced technology and newfound wisdom, humanity stepped onto the galactic stage. The message was clear to all who might be watching from distant stars. Earth was not to be underestimated. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger than ever, ready to take its place in the cosmic community. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The era of human ascendancy had begun. As the Phoenix ventured into the unknown, it carried with it the hopes and dreams of an entire planet. The future, vast and full of possibilities, beckoned, and humanity, battle-tested and unbowed, was ready to meet it head-on.